Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing another way of making a Mother's Day card using some flowers. These are the Pinkfresh Studio Joyful Peonies, and today I'm just going to use the dies and the stamp set. Then I have this gorgeous background that I really like using that is called Diagonal Stitched Plaid from Pinkfresh Studio, and in the end I finished this card off with the phrase builder Happy. So here I have a piece of vellum and I'm really working it with my anti-static powder tool because I'm going to heat emboss this stamp on my vellum. Now, as you can see, it's a rubber stamp and there is already a backing on it, so you need to remove that black foam that you might have in your MISTI or your other stamping tools. And once that's done, I worked it a bit more with my anti-static powder tool before I started inking it up with Versamark clear embossing ink. So I'm pressing it down really well, and I'm going to do this a second time. Personally, I am never sure of my stamping, so most of the time I stamp it out twice, maybe 3 times, you never know. So now onto my embossing powder. This is the white embossing powder from Arranger and is the white superfine detail. I'm using this black foam to help me see where there is some excess. I'm just removing it using a clear paintbrush and it's a dry one. And then I'm heat setting this completely. So for the flowers, excuse me, for the flowers I'm not going to add any extra color because I will be adding a really bright background. So here I have the matching dies and I'm just going to secure it with some purple tape and cut it out. And that will be the flower part. So if you're like me and you're a bit afraid of starting to color flowers, then this is the perfect way for you to incorporate some flowers without the fear of messing it up. Okay, so onto my background. I have here a white piece of printer paper, just really thin one, and I'm adding some StickIt sheets on top of it. So I'm doing this because I want to create my background using some colored cardstock, and this way I can just add everything without wondering whether it is going to be secured completely afterwards. When I die cut everything, I'm just going to first create my background by adding these colors next to each other on this sticky sheet, and then I will cut out my background. So for today's card I have Ballet slippers, Midnight and Honeysuckle, and I'm adding them in the other way on top of this paper. So the lightest one is the Ballet slipper. It's my favorite pink color from Concord and 9th, and all the other two are also Concord and 9th. So as you can see here, I was kind of figuring out how I wanted these flowers to appear, and then I laid down this background, traced it, because this paper is way too big to fit through my Sizzix die cutting machine. So I'm trimming off the excess, and then I can layer the die again, cut it out, and then my background will be finished. Also going to secure this using some purple tape. And then we can cut it out. So this is the die cut version, and I just love these diagonal stitch plaid die. It's perfect for simple cards, also for a bit more intricate cards, but it's just that subtle detail, and I really like it. Now this is going to be a Mother's Day card, so I am taking the Happy Mother's Day words from the phrase builder Happy, and well, there are several ways to do this. I decided to keep my original idea and just overlap it with the flowers. Now you can also turn this panel horizontally and change up a bit of the placement if you want to. It's all up to you. But at first I wasn't really sure about the placement, so I decided to cut the Happy Mother's Day out of just some white paper to see placement and how it would look. And once I did that, I had a better vision and I could really continue with what I was planning to do. And then once I was convinced, I cut it out of the real paper that I wanted to use, being the gold dust glitter card from Tonic Studio. And then I thought, okay, so now I have the gold dust. I want to overlap it with the flowers, but how can I make sure that I don't mess up placement? So then I thought, okay, I just add that white version that I cut out to make sure that my layout was alright. I just first add that straight onto my panel, onto my background, and then afterwards I can add the flowers, but at least I will already know where my glitter card will be overlapping. So that was the idea that I had. And I still think that it was quite smart. I don't know if there was another way that I could have made sure that placement was alright. So sticking to this idea that I like it and that I think it was clever. So I'm just making sure that I'm placing these right. And then afterwards, no worries, it will all turn out fine. So I'm just using some liquid glue. And then I'm adding it. So really simple. I already also used these words on the other flower related Mother's Day card that I made with the washi tape, if you remember, from Pinkfresh Studio. And I love the script. It's elegant, it's appealing. The phrase builder happy, and there are also other phrase builders. I think it's a really handy tool to have in your house. Now to add this flower, as you know, if you have Vellum, then your liquid glue or whatever glue you're using can appear from underneath. So I just turned this Vellum piece around and looked for some areas where I had more of that white embossing powder on the other side and added it there. And I also added liquid glue on the part of the mothers and happy that was going to be underneath the flowers. This way it's adhered a bit better, and I will still overlap that using the gold dust. So here I'm adding my sentiment. I'm just making sure that it aligns perfectly, because these elegant words can sometimes get a bit manipulated by the way you are holding it or anything like that. So I'm just making sure that I'm wiggling it right on top of the white part. If you want to, here you can also work with a shadow, but I originally had no idea of using white words as well, so that's why I covered it completely. So this is my panel. Now I'm going to add it on top of a card base. I will have to trim off those flowers, because otherwise it won't fit in an envelope. So I'm just doing that, and then with some Pritt adhesive roller I'm going to add this panel on a card base. And then if you want to, you can still embellish this card, but I decided to not to because, well, the glitter card just does it all in my opinion. So I'm leaving it like this. This is my Mother's Day card for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and of course that you like the end result. If you have any questions, you can always leave them down below in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope that you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with some new crafty inspiration. Bye!